always kinda known that.
You have? Mom asks in surprise.
Yeah,
Phoebe answers quietly.
I've never felt happy about the way I look. It's kinda always felt wrong, like I'm supposed to be something else.
Yeah, I think that's her. Phoebe lowers her phone and starts tapping away once more.
Mom,
She says, still looking down.
would it be bad news for her if she gave those pink pills to someone else?
Catching a glimpse of myself in the mirror as I follow Phoebe downstairs, I feel like a complete dope. I look like one of those Instagram girls that do cosplay outfits for fun, but doing it badly. Stopping at the foot of the stairs gives me a moment to fuss around with the fit of my armor. I hate anything that clings to my feminine curves. I know it seems shallow, but my curves only remind me of things that I've lost. Phoebe? I say to get her attention as she looks around for Mom. My chest is getting really compressed in this thing. Is that normal? 'Cause it's starting to hurt a little. Phoebe only gives a fleeting glance and a shrug, then resumes her search. I've never seen her act so seriously before.
I told you earlier,
She finally remarks, poking her head into the kitchen.
you won't want your chest bouncing around. They need to be supported, especially if we have to do any fighting.
Remembering the incident in the gym that's got me into this nonsense, I nod without saying another word. She is right, but what does she mean by fighting? I don't know what I'm doing with a sword. Phoebes, I say nervously, folding my arms tight. What do you mean? Fighting? As she turns, she taps the sheath of a sword hanging from her belt.
This kind of fighting, Aiden.
With a sigh and a shake of my head, I almost laugh. How long have I been out? She's talking like that's normal, and that she's some sort of grizzled warrior. This is my little sister we're talking about. Or maybe I should say, little brother? This has become rather confusing. Seriously, Phoebes? I say with a sarcastic grin. Mom just told you she stole your gender and all that other baloney, and you're acting like a character from Braveheart.
Stop it, Aiden,
Phoebe snaps sharply. Stop what? I reply, followed by a nervous laugh. I may have put this silly outfit on, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think this is just utterly insane. I'm part of a race of cats? What's next? A race of humanoid dogs wanting to steal our litter trays?
Stop acting like you always do.
Phoebe responds abruptly, moving past me as she goes to look in the living room.
Can you just help me look for Mom? That Ivy girl is in trouble and I'd hate anything to happen to her.
What's with the attitude? I question, knowing moments ago she was gushing with tears at the side of my bed. Phoebe stops still. She doesn't say or move at all for several seconds.
Phoebe mutters with her back to me, not giving you attitude, Aiden. I'm just starting to stress out because Mom isn't down here and that Ivy girl might be in danger.
I'm sick of hearing about Ivy and the trouble she's in. She stole it from me and caused all this trouble, so it's her own fault. Come to think of it, what do Phoebes and Mom think they're going to do with swords when the police already have firearms? We're going to get laughed at. This is getting so out of hand. Phoebe, I say diplomatically, don't you think this is all a bit strange? Look at what we are wearing. I dread to think what Mom's been teaching you. It's all in-fucking-sane. Again, Phoebe just stands with her back to me, and as her shoulders sag, I can tell she's getting upset. The silence between us feels like a 10-ton weight, and makes me wonder what on earth Mom has told her.
Just stop,
Phoebe says, letting out a long breath.
Stop it, Aiden, please.
What's the matter with you? I quickly retort. I know you agree this is all silly. Why are you getting upset with me? Spinning herself around on the spot, Phoebe throws out her arms towards me with fury and pushes me back with all of her might. I stumble backward, shocked by her actions.
Stop saying stuff like that,
Phoebe growls, wiping tears from her eyes as she grits her teeth.
I don't want it to have been all for nothing. To have suffered all my life for nothing.
Annoyed she's pushed me, I listen only to the rage that grows inside me. She has no idea what suffering I've been through, having my gender swapped, and she has the guile to get upset at me? What the hell, Phoebes? I hiss, regaining my composure to square up to her. You're trying to talk to me about suffering? Mom stole my life from me. Phoebe folds her arms and looks down at the floor. I can see tears rolling down her cheeks. At least you know what it's like to be a guy, Phoebe says emotionally. Phoebe? She looks up, and I see deep frustration in her eyes. Gritting her teeth again, I can see the rage within her growing and boiling to the surface.
All you do is complain,
she shouts, pushing me back again with her hands.
Never really caring how anyone else feels. It's all about you, Aiden, isn't it?
Startled, she's pushed me a second time. I find my footing and put my guard up. What does she mean? I don't care.
At least you got to live some of your life as the real you, Phoebe screams. You have no idea what it's been like growing up trapped in a girl's body. No fucking idea.
Wide eyes, I just stare at her in disbelief.
All my life, she hisses,
forming fists with her hands.
All my life, I've had to watch you grow up as a boy, doing the things I wanted to do, wearing the things I wanted to, being what I wanted to be. You have no idea how much I've envied you and how lucky you are.
I say nothing. Her words make my heart hurt.
You think you've got it so rough since having to wear bras and dresses, she continues, pointing at my body. Try having that your entire life. Forced into frilly stuff, cursed to be adorable and cute.
Tears well up in my eyes as I begin to understand her. Why didn't she say anything?
You know, Aiden,
she sniffs, wiping her nose with her forearm.
I used to wish that we'd somehow swap bodies. Some nights I'd close my eyes tight and pray that the next morning I'd wake up as you, as a guy, and you'd be the one stuck in a girl's body.
Swiftly looking back down at the floor, Phoebe sobs.
I've always known something wasn't right with my body. I've always known being a girl wasn't me. But you know what?
She snaps her head back up at me, and I see the wrath in her eyes.
I always just got on with it. I did the party dresses, I did the pigtails, makeup, I had my first period, I kissed boys. I did all the things society wants me to do as a girl.
Looking deep into her eyes, I can see the pain within.
I told myself I should be happy,
she whimpers, allowing her face to show the pain.
I forced myself to be happy because I didn't know what else to do. I'm not happy, Aiden. I've never felt normal or accepted.
What? I stutter, having no idea that's how she feels.
So I will not have you tell me this is silly or insane.
She growls at me through gritted teeth, giving me an expression straight from our mother's repertoire.
Otherwise, all the pain and anguish I've had growing up as a girl has been completely for nothing. Nothing!
Stunned, I watch her cover her face with her hands and begin to cry.
It has to be,
she whines and sobs.
All this has to have been for something.
Phoebe, I say gently, wanting to comfort her. She steps back.
If I saved that girl's life, Aiden, then growing up this way and feeling so out of touch with my own body will have been worth it. It will have meant something. So don't keep complaining at me,
Phoebe snarls, taking her hands away from her face.
We are girls now, and we are going to make that mean something. I know you're angry at Mom, and I should be too, but I choose to believe this is for a higher purpose.
Her words cut deep, and I think back at how I've been acting. Knowing what I know now about Phoebes, my actions have been distasteful. Phoebe sniffs and wipes her eyes. She looks up at me and forces a smile through the tears.
Please, Aiden, she says with a whimper. Please, just trust Mom. Trust that this all has meaning. Let's embrace our womanhood and make it mean something. If you won't do it for her, then at least do it for me.
My mind races. So many thoughts are swirling in my head as Phoebe looks at me with such desperation in her eyes. The pain is obvious to see, and I understand it completely. Okay, is all I manage to say as I slowly nod my head.
Thanks.
Phoebe blubs, throwing herself into my arms without warning. Embracing her tight, I can't help but shed a tear at the emotion she's just shared with me. She's hidden this her entire life? I thought she liked being girly. Was she forcing herself to be that way? Phoebe? I say softly, holding her tight. Why didn't you tell us you felt this way?
Does that matter right now?
She replies, looking up at me as she pushes back from my embrace. I look around the corridor and remember we are looking for Mom. I guess not, I answer.
We need to find Mom,
Phoebe says, composing herself.
I know she acts all tough, but I can see how fragile she really is. Deep down, she's terrified and she won't explain to me why.
I nod to acknowledge what Phoebe just said, but then a memory from her past comes to mind. You used to stuff your underwear, I say, giving her a funny look. Didn't you? Whilst your friends stuffed their bras, you stuffed your underwear? Was that so you felt like you had a winky? Phoebe's face goes the brightest red I've ever seen. She shies away and doesn't answer verbally, but I can take her body language as a yes. I poke her shoulder and give her a cheeky look. If it's any consolation, I also now know what it's like to wish that you have a winky. Phoebe glances up and gives me a small smile.
I can teach you how to stuff, if you like,
she jokes. I laugh and a huge wave of relief washes over me. Phoebe's been my rock and best friend since I became a girl. I'd hate for us to be mad at each other for any reason. I touch her shoulder and she looks up at me. At first I smile down at her. We should find Mom, I say, swapping out my smile for a look of determination. Phoebe grins and nods.
Thanks.
Just as we start looking again, Mom appears at the end of the hallway. I have no idea how long she's been standing there, but she's holding another sword with a very telling smile on her face.
Need to find me?
Mom asks brazenly, holding out the sword's handle toward me. I look at her and the sword she's holding. Then I look at Phoebe, and she gives me an encouraging smile.
This one's for you, Aiden,
Mom says, moving closer to me.
Sorry it took me a while to find it.
Wasn't quite sure where I left it in the garage. For me? I ask, taking hold of the slightly worn and dirty-looking blade.
Yes,
Mom replies, clearly ecstatic that I've taken the sword without hesitation.
It might not be much, but it will do you well.
Holding the sword in my hand for the first time is strange, but not completely foreign. For some reason, it feels somewhat normal, like it's always been a part of me.
Right, Mom says in a commanding tone. Girls, we need to start making tracks. We must do our best to stop Green at all costs.